And we're live.
Woo!
With another episode. Welcome to another episode. Thank you to Tough Text for sponsoring another episode of On Air with LA Balloons. I'm Andrew. This is Karen.
Hello.
And we've got episode 9 underway today.
Yes.
And
That's
we
exciting.
definitely, for sure, glad we got this one under control, but need to have some guests for the last 3 episodes.
Mhm.
Like, we're scheduling everybody today, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think we know a few people that we could bring in. So I think for sure next one
We will have a mystery
we will
guest.
have a guest. Yes. On today's episode, I have a few questions and things that I want to talk about with you. So are you ready?
I think so.
All right.
I hope so.
We're going to start off actually with the shout out for this episode. So the first shout out goes to a business that is called A Pop of Happiness. So A Pop of Happiness, you can find their info on the screen. A Pop of Happiness is owned by Lauren. And so for this business, they're actually service the greater Los Angeles area and Ventura County area. And they're actually located here in Glendale as well as us. So
Glendale's like a hub.
yeah, I was looking through her profile and I found a few pictures that I thought were interesting that I really liked. One of them is she made the Hungry Caterpillar
Cute.
from
The
the Hungry Caterpillar.
Caterpillar.
Have you read that book before?
I mean, I'm sure I was like, I don't know how old I would have been. 6, 8.
Maybe little. I mean, I remember it from when I was a child. Anyways,
Is that
was
one of your childhood like books?
yeah. I think that's one. Like when I see that one, I'm kind of like, oh, it's that book. Like sometimes I don't remember what the name of the caterpillar is or the book, but just seeing that one, I'm like, I know where that's from. So
All right, I know I'm not leading this episode, but I do have a question to circle back to this because I want to continue with her shout out.
all right. Well, that's one design that I thought was really nice from her profile. The other one that I saw is she makes these cute little bunnies where I guess, is it called distortion?
Yeah.
Where you put in one balloon into another one
So
to
you put
make
in a 260
Yeah.
into like another balloon and then you shape it?
Yeah, so I saw that she did that with some bunnies, maybe like last year for Easter, and the little ears were like flopping, and I thought that was cute.
Okay.
And then she also made this really cool pop art cake, which I know pop art and balloons has been a thing lately,
Okay.
or like at some point it was like really popular. So I thought that was cool. So
Now, question.
Mhm.
Distortion is a pretty advanced technique.
Mhm.
So when you put a modeling balloon like a 160, 260, 350 into another balloon, whether it be 11-inch, 16-inch, 24-inch, 36, whatever,
Mhm.
it's pretty advanced.
yeah.
How long has she been in business, do we know?
I was, again, doing my stalking, and I think she just started like a year ago.
That's
So
pretty impressive if
her-
she only started a year ago.
Yeah, her first post was, I think the beginning of 2023. So it's interesting to see that like she has a lot of cool designs that I'm just kind of like, I don't know, for like you said, for her first year, distortion, I mean,
That's
Yeah.
very impressive. It
Yeah.
is still something that frustrates me when I do it.
mhm.
And I can't say that I'm very efficient at it.
Well, I mean, those are just some of the designs that I saw that were on her page that I thought were really good. And I'm sure there's plenty of others that I might have just like missed. But those are just some of the ones that I wanted to shout her out for. So shout out to you, Lauren, from A Pop of Happiness. Again, we'll go ahead and tag her on the screen and we'll tag her everywhere else. So
Cute.
that's the first shout out. Second shout out is Fanfare.
Fanfare.
Yes. I wanted to shout out Fanfare because we actually met Alexis, which is the founder of Fanfare, and we met her at
Float.
Yes. Alexis and then her team that was there were very, very like some of the nicest people like we've ever met. Very knowledgeable about like just everything. I wanted to shout out Fanfare because I don't think a lot of people are maybe familiar with it, but I think the concept of it is really, really cool. It's basically this website where you can upload like pictures of your work. And so when customers come to you, you have your work on there, and they're pretty much, it's like a cool interactive website.
It's like build your decor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so okay. So real quick, circling back around to the team, shout out to the rest of the team. So Alexis is the CEO, Ryan is the CTO, Natalie is the VP of product, and Patrick is the COO.
Natalie, that's her name. We keep wanting to call her Nicole for some reason. I'm so sorry, Natalie.
Sorry, Natalie.
Yeah, you just look like a Nicole, I guess, but Natalie.
But it is a business platform. So if you have a balloon business and you have, let's just say, you want to scale, a lot of times it's hard to have a lot of these consultations with your client.
Yeah.
So they built this platform that you can integrate into your balloon decorating business, where your customer goes onto your site, and if you have Fanfare in your program, they'll be able to see options of decor, add-ons like silk flowers, all the different foils that you can add,
chairs,
backdrops, chairs, anything that you offer, and you get to pick and choose.
Yeah.
And your customer can actually build it out, choose their colors, and essentially tell you exactly what they want. You do the bounce houses, they've got the bounce houses. You want to do a garland, they have the garlands. You want to do a column, you can do the columns. And no longer is it this over the phone, or we have to do the meeting and do these, I'll show you the colors. Like, they have control. Your customer has the control and tell you exactly what their vision is for the job. And then it'll give you a price quote.
Yeah, a quote. Yeah. So it saves a lot of time from having that like back and forth with the client and then you as like the business owner, which I think, and just seeing the visual of like you being able to say like, well, I want, this pompous like on this side, or I want the neon sign to say happy birthday or whatever the occasion is. It's cool to see the design beforehand. And I know it's popular to do it on like Canva and different things like that.
But it's a very manual process.
Yeah. So I feel like it'll save you so much time as a business owner, and it'll also give the client a better idea of what the vision will turn out to be. And
it's almost exact. And just the cost too. So like they want to stay in a certain budget. So they get the medium-sized garland, and then they want to add on, again, like the silk flowers, and they want to add the pompous. They want to add on the foils or the number 5 or a neon sign. Yeah. But they add it on and then the price adjusts. But imagine having a consultation, but 5 or 10 at the same exact time.
Yeah. It makes it so much easier, and we're not being paid to say any of this. I generally I just want everybody to know about it, and you did a really good job at explaining what it is. But I really wanted to mention them because I think it saves, again, a lot of time. And I think one of the subjects also for people is, how do you upsell somebody on decor? You get me? So if somebody's saying like, hey, I have a budget of, let's just say $400. And so for $400, you can just give them a certain amount of decor. Let's now say that they actually want that happy birthday neon sign. Well, maybe it's out of their budget. Okay, so how do I offer it without sounding like, well, now I'm going to tack on an extra 50 or an extra 100. And so I feel like that kind of gives them that, I guess, space or like decision making time to really decide and say like, you know what, I'm willing to spend that extra amount for the neon sign, for the florals, for the chair, whatever add-ons you want. But
it's also helping them because they can see it. Because it's one thing if I tell you, hey, it's going to look so much better if we add the neon sign that says Tough Tex, right? Or Karen or whatever. But for me to tell you, as opposed to you just drag and drop
it,
and then you see it and you're like, oh yeah, I kind of want that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you're willing to take out, I don't know, the $50 from the, I don't know, like luxury table, I don't know, decor you were going to spend it on something like that. But yeah, I just wanted to mention them as well.
Yes. I think what they've created. It is a monthly membership. There are a couple tiers now, so they have 3 levels.
Okay.
I believe it's 99 to 489 and like 350, something along those lines.
Okay.
For you to activate that service and integrate it into your business.
Okay.
I'm going to make sure that we put the right numbers up
Yeah.
in case that was wrong.
Yeah.
But I know they have 3 tiers.
Yeah.
But this very much solves the issue of scalability.
Yep.
And then being in more places at one. A lot of balloon decorators are a one or a small team kind of show. So if you can have multiple quotes or multiple consultations and you've got only so much time in the day, you're picking up the kids, you're cooking dinner, you're doing these, so like the time that you have to be on the phone or having meetings with someone is often limited. But if they come to your site and they can kind of build it out and get the quote, then you control all these things, so you can customize what you offer, how you price, the colors, the rentals, etc. It just makes it so much easier. And I think whether you get the basic plan or one of the higher tiered plans, you'll be able to book more jobs that way.
Yeah, it's very customizable to you and your business. And the cool thing also is that right now, I've seen on their website, and I think they showed it to us at Float. They did show us it at Float, where you pretty much can do like a trial of what it is that we're talking about. And we'll put the link somewhere on here so that you guys can mess around with the website. And so you can pretty much see everything that we're talking about. You can kind of mess with it. So, that was my other shout out that I thought was, worth mentioning. So, yeah.
Hi, Alexis.
And Natalie. So, my next point is, in our last episode, you asked me a question and we never answered it. We never came back and we didn't circle back to it.
Oh, really?
Do you know what it is?
No.
The Wizard of Oz question.
It was the which?
The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, we didn't? I thought we did.
No, I was listening to the episode and I never got the answer to what color the hot air balloon
It's green.
was. Oh, really?
It's green. So
right.
I know my guess was actually red as well. And I was like, of course it's going to be red. Like every balloon in every movie that's significant is a red balloon.
Yeah.
But no, it is a green hot air balloon.
Oh. I would have never guessed, which funny enough, I actually saw this morning on Instagram that the Creative Heart Studio did some what are they called? Like the Nickeloon shapes? Mosaic. Yeah, mosaic frames. They did the cast from The Wizard of Oz in mosaic frames, and I thought it was really cool. So I think it was like a reel or something, and we'll show a preview of it here so you guys can see. But I thought it was really cool, and I wanted to circle back and see what that answer was. Yeah.
So I guess if I'm going to start off with a trivia question and end the show with it, I should probably give you the answer.
We left everybody on a cliffhanger because everybody wanted to know. But I didn't realize what color it was.
That's funny. I'm glad you got that.
Yeah, well, there's that. So for everybody who was waiting, if you were waiting to find out the answer, now you know the hot air balloon.
You had to listen to this episode.
Yeah.
You want this week's trivia question? Are you ready for that one?
Sure.
All right. So a 55 cubic foot helium tank.
Okay.
Okay. It's a popular size. It's convenient. If you're starting a business, it's a little bit smaller, but it's easier to kind of lug around.
Yeah.
How many 11-inch balloons can it inflate? And about how many 9-inch balloons can it inflate? A 55 cubic foot helium tank. About.
A 55 cubic foot for 11-inch, I'm going to say 100. And for 9-inch, is it 150 or 200? I'm going to say 150.
Okay, final answer.
Yeah.
Should I actually give you the answer now since I forgot the last time?
Probably. We can try that this time.
So, did you know that there is twice as much helium in an 11-foot or 11-inch balloon as there is in a 9-inch balloon? Really?
Even though they're 2 inches?
2 inches apart. Yeah. And it proportionately gets that much more the bigger the balloon goes. So, a 55 cubic foot tank will actually do about 100 balloons, 100 to 110.
Okay. 11
And
inch latex balloons.
11 inch.
Okay.
And the 9 inch, it'll do double that. So
Huh.
200 to 220.
Oh wow. That makes sense.
But you would never get, I mean, I never guessed. So like even when you get up to like let's say the 16-inch balloon, there's proportionately that much more. And then when you get up to like a 3-foot balloon, there's 15 cubic feet of helium as opposed to 0.5 cubic feet in an 11-inch balloon. I know that sounds like a lot of numbers, but it's a lot more than you would think.
It's 0.5 cubic feet for an 11-inch balloon, latex balloon.
And in a 36-inch balloon, there's 15 cubic feet, full cubic feet.
Is there a difference from a 36-inch latex balloon filled with helium versus a 36-inch mylar balloon?
Huge difference.
Do you know what it is?
Give or take, most larger super shaped mylar balloons will kind of range between 1.5 to 3 cubic feet. So that's still 4 or 5 times.
Oh, wow.
So the latex, because the helium's actually pushing it and it's stretching the latex, it requires more force to like expand it. And it's a heavier material and it's stronger because it's rubber latex.
Yeah.
As opposed to foil, right? So you're just kind of like filling in, but you're not actually pushing it. It's a lot lighter. They're not as round.
Yeah.
So typically they're a little bit more of like a hamburger shape or something along those lines. But yeah, so even the bigger foil balloons, and I say bigger, I'm going to say like your 32-inch letter number, a 34-inch letter number, compared to a 36-inch balloon, a latex balloon is like 4 or 5 times more helium.
I did know that it is more for latex versus a foil one, but you explaining it just makes sense. I didn't think about it as like for a foil, you're just filling in the space versus a latex balloon that the gas essentially has to stretch out the balloon and do twice as much the work to get it to that shape. So, oh wow, the more you know.
I was literally thinking that.
Yeah. That's good. I actually didn't. I did not know that. Well, another thing now that we're talking about latex balloons, did you know, you did know, and I've been mentioning this to him because I saw it on, I don't know whose video, and I think it's the coolest thing, and some of you might not be familiar with it, and I don't even think you know what I'm talking about.
No.
You can, when I say it, you're going to be like, oh my gosh. The fact that you can blow up a latex balloon, take out the air, put it up against a little heater, and it shrinks back down to the size that it originally was. Like,
yes.
I don't know why. Like, it's so cool to me. And it's funny, I just showed the staff this morning because I had a bunch of like different balloons on my desk. And so I said, oh, do you guys want to see something cool? And they were like, sure. For everybody who doesn't know, I don't know if we mentioned this before, but Andrew and I are always pretty cold. Like
always cold.
Yeah, like we're always cold, but I think
it's freezing in the warehouse.
Yeah, Andrew's always a little bit more cold than I am. Like yesterday, it was kind of warm in here. It might have been because I was like doing stuff in the warehouse, but in our offices, it's like pretty cold. But he had his heater on yesterday and it was pretty warm, I guess, outside. But anyways, I thought about it this morning. And so I was like, do you guys want to see something cool? And they're like, sure. So I go into Andrew's office. I turn on his little heater and I literally just put the balloons, and it was like 3 balloons that I grabbed. And I go and they're just like, their faces were just like, whoa.
It's like a magic trick.
Yeah. And I thought it was so cool. And just showing them, I thought was, cool. And so they were not familiar with it. They didn't know. And so they were like, whoa, even Gus was like, whoa. Like his mind was like blown. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's actually part of the balloon making process to put it through a dryer.
Yeah.
So like, oh, it would make sense. But I didn't know it really shrunk it until like I actually discovered it a few years ago.
Oh, well, yeah, I didn't realize, I think I had known that air drying was part of the process, but it didn't actually click that you could do it to the balloon after it was already inflated. But showing it to the staff and like just
You
seeing
should do
it.
that.
Yeah, well, now I know. So, I mean, every time I see one, I'm just like, I go and it just shrinks like.
Yeah, so like if you just inflate a balloon to show somebody what it looks like and you're
Yeah.
like, that's a good balloon, I want to use it again.
Yeah,
Put it up against a little heater
there you go.
and then good as new.
Yeah, so there's a fun fact. There's a little tip of the day. If you blow up a balloon and you want to reuse it, it's a latex balloon, you hold it up to a little heater and then it shrinks back up to how it originally was. So,
Or even like a hair dryer or something along those lines.
yeah, anything that's just heat, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, well.
Oh, wait, before we move on.
Mm-hmm.
So we brought up The Hungry Caterpillar.
Uh-huh.
Is that your favorite children's book?
I think so. I think it's the only one that I can. Oh, there's that one. And then I don't know if many people remember this one. I feel like when we talk about these things and like our like childhood, it exposes how old we are. But that
Way
one,
younger than everyone thinks.
that one would be one. And then did you ever hear about this book? It was called We Eat Dinner in the Bathtub.
No.
No.
That's
Okay.
an interesting one. We eat dinner in the bathtub.
Yeah, and it was about like this family where it was, and it just came to mind right now, that they would eat dinner in the bathtub. They would like do certain things in the kitchen, do other things that you typically wouldn't do in like your kitchen, in your bedroom, wherever. They would do the opposite of it. But maybe those two are like my favorite. Yeah.
Can we circle back on what the plot was for The Hungry Caterpillar?
I might have to go read the book again because I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was actually.
It made me think. So as soon as you said that, I was just like, oh. And I don't know why. Well, actually, I have two books that I remember. One of them was Dumbo. Love that little elephant with the giant ears. So that was a significant childhood book that I would rent out from the library when I was in like kindergarten, first grade, like all the time.
Okay.
And was it The Jungle Book with Mowgli?
That sounds familiar, but I don't know if
You
I
don't
ever
know
read
The Jungle
it.
Book? Oh,
Like
man.
the movie?
Well, the movie was Once Upon a Time a book.
Okay.
So, but he was like a little kid who basically was orphaned into the jungle and lived with the animals there. So, like, he had a best friend, Baloo the bear, and
It sounds familiar, but I don't think I ever actually read it.
goes through a little adventure.
Huh.
But I think I wanted to be like him, so
Like
we'll look it up.
Mowgli?
Like Mowgli, yeah.
Mowgli.
That's why I'm trying to grow up my
What
hair.
was he? Who was he? What kind of character?
It's kind of like Tarzan, to be honest. Actually,
That's what I'm thinking
similar
of.
concept to Tarzan.
Yeah.
But like more kid friendly.
Okay.
So yeah, but it made me think about it when you mentioned The Hungry Caterpillar being a book, and then you started talking about it. I was like, oh, is that one of your like favorite books when you were a kid?
I would say it's one of the ones that I can remember. Did you ever go to like book fairs at school?
School, I did.
Did you ever get those like paper flyers that they would
Paper flyers. I remember getting a bunch of like 20-cent books and stuff like that.
20 cents?
I don't remember, but like a lot of these book fairs, like there are all these old books and like they would be super cheap, and then you would, get them. Oh, do they still do that thing where like you read a book or two books or whatever every month, and then you get a pizza?
I don't know if
Did
they
you
do
ever do
it
that?
now anymore. I think before we would read books and you would have to hit a certain amount of points during the month. But I don't think you ever got anything for it.
I remember we got Pizza Hut. We got a little certificate for our own personal sized pizza. And I remember I was like, that's why I'm reading. I just want the little personal pizza.
Oh, you must have gone to a nice school because I don't remember that. I don't
No,
think I
really
I
don't.
don't think I ever got anything like that. Yeah,
I saw it on Instagram the other day, and it's like, this is why our generation like read for whatever reason. And I was like, oh yeah, that was my motivation.
Well, what's funny, like I'm asking you about the book fair, but they used to give out, at least the school that I went to, would give you this little like paper book thing, and inside it would tell you like all the different types of books and stuff that they were going to bring to the book fair. And so you would show up, and some people would actually buy books, and some people would just go for, they had like get a little like digital diary of blah blah blah, and you would just go for all these cute little like book accessories.
Oh.
But like I remember back then it was like a splurge. Like if you bought something, like you were like begging your parents to be like, "Can I get this?" You know, and like
outside of a bookmark, well, how many kinds of book accessories can there be? Are there a lot?
there was like a bookmark, there was like a pen, there was they would try to sell you on really anything. But imagine just being there, tables filled with books and just different
book accessories.
I don't think everything was book accessories, but
I'm trying to think. Barnes and Noble. I'm like, do they sell book? Assumably they do.
Like a bookmark?
I've just never noticed it. Like that's the only one I can think of.
Yeah.
Like maybe is there like maybe a book light you can clip onto a book?
Oh, they did have that as well.
Okay.
Yes, a book light. Makes sense. Yeah, but I think they had other random stuff. I don't know.
But you enjoyed this book fair process, and you were the one begging your parents for.
I don't know if my parents maybe might have bought me like a thing here and there, but it wasn't it definitely wasn't something where I was just like, let me get one of these and one of those. Like, no.
You know what? At the book fairs, they also had posters at the one I went to.
Oh yeah,
I remember getting those. Oh, do people still put posters on the wall in like the room with their kids?
I don't. Everything's different now. I saw this TikTok yesterday of this teacher that was asking her students what the slang is now compared to what it was when she was in like high school. And the slang is just like, that's different. I mean, if you see people's like style, there's so many trends now where you're just kind of like, this is how I looked when I was 10 versus what 10-year-olds look like now. And 10, 15-year-old people are so much trendier now than I was back then. Like, I don't know. It's just things change.
Very, very, very different.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm trying to. Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah. So I don't know. Just thought it was. I don't remember how we got into this, but
no. Actually, I was gonna say I lost my train of thought for a second. But with you talking about like the slang words, I learned a new one at the gym the other day because there's a lot of 16 to 19-year-old gym goers at my gym. And someone said something along the lines of like, "That's mid."
Oh.
And they're like the earphones were mid, and like I like this, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, hold on, let's backtrack. You said that's mid. Yeah. What does that mean? Turns out it means like,
yeah,
like it's okay. And I was like, oh, all right, that makes sense. Good enough for me. But it was the first time I had ever heard that terminology, and I was like, that's definitely I don't know what the generation is, Gen Z, Gen whatever.
I don't know.
But something that's new right now. So, fun fact. I learned what it means to me, what mid means.
Are you familiar with a lot of the acronyms that are used now?
Like what? Probably not.
Do you know what BFFR stands for?
I want to say best friend forever, but for some reason I feel like...
You would think so, yeah. If BFF stands for best friends forever, but no, it doesn't.
What's the R for?
BFFR, it means be effing for real.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that seems like a stretch, but okay.
Yeah,
I guess.
But instead of saying the whole thing, you're just like BFFR. Or like, do you know what FOMO means or stands for?
I do know what FOMO means, but I don't know that's new because that's...
I don't think that's new either, but do you know what LMK stands for?
Let me know.
Okay, RN.
That's a nurse.
In slang. No. It's not slang. It's like...
It's not a nurse.
It's an acronym.
But it's definitely also a nurse.
But it's not registered nurse.
Okay. No. Then right now.
Yes.
Oh, that was a guess.
Yeah. So I feel like there's so many acronyms for everything, but those are the only ones that come to mind right now. But
so you're with it.
I have siblings that are younger than me, so I feel like sometimes I can just ask them. But I do see or hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, that's mid," or
that was my first experience with that, and I was like, "What does that mean?"
Yeah, there's so many different things now that I'm just like, "What? What did you say?" But I think even the staff here sometimes like will teach me a word or two. Yeah, like they just I don't know. They say a bunch of random stuff.
Always learning.
Always learning. Literally. Question for you, since we're talking about book fairs and childhood. If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what do you think you were doing? But also, growing up, what did you want to be?
Oh, that's funny. Okay. When I was growing up, I think I I had a different perception of what I was wanted to do. So there was a couple things I wanted to do.
Okay.
In my mind,
Hmm.
and I'm actually none of these things or never really got into any of these things. I thought I wanted to do something that involved me physically doing something.
Oh, okay.
So a carpenter, an engineer, something that involved a skill.
Like manual labor.
I, yes and no, and it
Okay.
wasn't so much manual labor, but it was like something that required physicality.
Okay.
I'll say that. Balloons. Just kidding. I didn't even know balloons. What they're doing with balloons now. When I was 6, 7, 8, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, the last thing would have been a pilot, like a fighter jet pilot.
Oh.
Um, so actually, I remember on the first plane ride when I was like 4 or 5 that I ran, the pilot actually gave me these little wings,
Oh, really?
like a little pin
I
thing.
thought those are like, are they rare?
They might be. I still have it somewhere, but
Oh.
I mean, I was like 4 and 5, and my brother was like 3-ish.
Okay.
And we were really, really good on the plane, and it was a very long flight. And I guess he was like,
Here
he
you
was a
go.
nice pilot. I don't know. For whatever reason, he gave us these little
Like
wings. So
Oh.
I think maybe that's why I wanted to be a pilot. So
Core
I'm
memory.
not, yeah. And I was like, I thought, Nick, I'll work on cars. I wanted to design cars. But I physically thought like working on cars would be interesting to me.
Okay.
It's not that interesting to me. I'll change the oil or the air filter.
Yeah.
I can change the tire, the basic stuff. But
Yeah.
my brother's the car guy.
Okay.
So he turned into the car guy.
Huh.
But if, and like the fighter plane pilot thing, I don't know when that kind of like dwindled away, but it was never something I like truly looked into and like going into the Air Force or anything like that. Oh, if I was, okay, so I thought we did talk about what I would do if I wasn't here. Not, I think if things were different and I had made different decisions,
Mhm.
I would probably be working either in a retail or a gym setting right now.
Mhm.
Now, that's
Oh, you're right. You
had I
did.
not gone and taken this opportunity here and become part of the LA Balloons team.
Mhm.
So I think working our way backwards and making a different choice,
Yeah.
that's probably what it was. After having been exposed and having had this experience,
Yeah.
I think it's actually more clear now. But like, if I wasn't here, 5 or 6 days in a week or however long, I would probably start my own business, and that would probably have something to do with a gym and or a clothing line.
Oh, you did mention this
Mhm.
last time.
But at least now, my thoughts are a little bit more clear on what it was, because it really did make me think for a second here.
All right. Well, since you brought up the car thing, we were talking earlier about how I dropped off my car to get serviced. Do you feel like, specifically with car stuff, do you feel that it's easier for a woman to get, what's the word? Is it more convenient, or is it, I don't want to say discriminating. Is it discriminating? You know when you go to a car, like to go drop off your car, and they see a girl and they're just kind of like, hey, you need new tires, you need a car, like tire rotation, you need a filter, you need a oil change.
All of these things.
All
So
of these things.
Is it more likely that you'll get taken advantage of?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, depending on where you go,
Mhm.
I think that is very possible. I don't want to say I don't know how likely or unlikely it is.
Mhm.
But everyone has a preconceived perception. Everyone has a prejudice,
Mhm.
one way or another, and whether it's a person and or business, you can't really escape it. Like,
Yeah.
I know we're always trying to become more equal and fair, but whether you're actually judging a person in a negative or a positive way,
Yeah.
when you meet or see someone or your first interaction, there almost always is something.
Mhm.
And I think that's innate to humanity and like just being a person, because
Yeah.
it's a safety thing. Like if I come up to you, is this going to be a safe interaction?
Mm.
And that's why we talk about first impressions,
Yeah.
right? So, why is a first impression important?
Yeah.
It's not everything, but it will determine maybe how I treat you or you treat me.
Yeah.
It'll determine whether or not in that first hour of an interview, I'm going to take a chance and hire you
Yeah.
and believe that you're going to get the job done that you told me you could get done. But in terms of like the car industry and body shops and, a female, let's just say, taking their car into the shop and saying, can you just change, the oil? And then they come back and they give you $2,000 worth of work. Unfortunately, I feel like I hear that more often than I should.
Mm-hmm.
So I think to a degree, yes.
Okay.
But I'm also not a car expert. I didn't work in the car industry.
Mm-hmm.
And, that very well could happen to me as well.
Yeah.
Or maybe somebody who's younger as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to someone who's older.
Yeah.
I think the only way to fix that is actually becoming more knowledgeable about your vehicle.
Yeah.
Right? So if you know your car and you just want an oil change, but you also know that, hey, my tires are fine.
Yeah.
Hey, my oil filter's fine. Like, oh, I looked at the this or that or whatever, and I don't need that.
Yeah.
I think it's also up to the individual.
Yeah, I bring that up because, well, one, it just happened to me because I dropped off my car and I had to come and I asked Andrew and I said, they're telling me that I need this and that and blah, 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 and like whatever. But also tying it to the balloon industry, I would say it is primarily women owned, women dominated, I would say, right? But
Girl
in
power.
in this industry, and I know everything is a little bit different, but I remember when I first started here, it is very shocking to people that like I knew how to fill a helium tank, or that I could even take out like a 291 tank to their car. 291 tanks, if you are not familiar with it, it's a steel tank, and it's about 5 feet tall. I am 5 feet tall.
Guess how much it weighs?
I don't know, actually. I've weighed it before and I don't remember.
It's about 124 pounds.
Oh, there you go. So 5 feet tall, 125 pounds?
124.
124 pounds. So imagine a 5 foot tank, 5 foot me, and I'm just rolling this thing out, or I have to fill it. And so people would just be like, oh, do you need some help? I'm like, sometimes, sure, go ahead, take the tank, For the most part, I'd be like, no, it's okay. Like, I got it. Or I think even now, the fact that women
drive the forklift.
Oh, that's the other one.
Delivery guys love when Karen drives the forklift.
It is literally, it's so funny because if you've been here, we share the curbside parking lot with the CVS parking lot, and right next to us, there's like all these other, I don't know, like businesses or buildings. And so sometimes I would have to go and just drive the forklift and bring down the pallets. And this was like, I haven't done it in a while actually, but I would go out there and the guys would just be like, whoa. And I'd be like, I already get so like, don't look at me. Like it makes me like shy, embarrassed. I don't know. It's cool. I think it's cool that I can do it, because we need it sometimes, but it's just funny that there are certain things that you might not necessarily think that women can do. And so that's why I bring that up. And the other thing is also right now, since the balloon industry you mainly see women like owning it and it's women owned, husbands and boyfriends and significant others are very involved in these businesses. And I think like shout out to all the husbands and supportive partners that are out there making your guys' dreams and small businesses thrive, because they build stuff for people, for your wife, for the business. They do the installs, they do the deliveries.
They cut the wood.
They do the signs, they paint. I see all these like different reels of people that are just like having the husband and they're like, what is that trend where it's like working in a job that you didn't even ask for, or you're working for free? Yeah.
This is what working for free looks like. Yeah.
So tag your person in the comment or let us know what your partner, whoever helps you out, so that we can thank them for all the work that they do. But I think it's funny because my cousin recently had a party and she had hired somebody to do a setup. And so I think she was expecting the girl that she was talking to show up and do the setup because she's shown up for her previous events. But this time, this guy showed up and it was her husband. It was a girl's husband. And so it's this big, like 6 foot tall, like, how would you say, like stocky guy, you know? And here he comes with like some pink and gold balloons and this pink backdrop. And he's just like, hey, like, I'm here to set up the balloons, you know? And we're like, cool, you know, just set it up. He sets it up. He gets his little 5-inch clusters and starts putting them in. And then he steps back and he goes, oh, just give me a minute. I have to take a picture for the boss, right? For his wife, which I thought was like really cool. And so to see like certain things, I don't know, I just feel like it kind of ties in with like what you would expect certain people to be able to do or not be able to do. And so
it's funny because in this particular industry, I do feel like it is women dominated, which is great. But there's also an advantage to being a woman. I think in that, I think if you have a male decorator versus a female decorator and you want to work with someone, there is a perception that it is the female decorator who either might be better or has that eye or who can match your vision for what you want your event to be, which is, again,
it's not which
true
is not true.
But it's just it may be a perception that's out there. But I think it actually, in comparison to a lot of industries, it may be an advantage to be a female and be that front salesperson who interacts and has that consultation with the client.
Yeah, I think I think it's just the way society is, where you just kind of assume like guys know more about cars and girls will know more about like creative stuff. But it's not the case. I mean, we are. I personally
know more about creative stuff than I do about cars. That's why my brother will attest to that. I'm like, yes, I can change the oil, but again, my skills there are limited in comparison to balloons.
Well, like even just you as an example, like you have that creative eye and you have the ability to be like, well, this color goes well with that one, or I think it's something's missing here. Steven has that, eye for it. We've seen like Sean from Lush Balloons.
Oh yeah.
And we've seen there's like Tommy's Balloons. There's a bunch of different.
There's a ton.
There's a bunch of different guys that are so talented, and so I think it's just funny. It's just something that I wanted to point out because I just related it back to my car that happened this morning.
And now you're gonna get a better deal on your tires.
Do your research because the freaking dealerships are always just trying to get you for more money, and so ask somebody.
Ask a friend.
Yeah, because it'll help you out. But I have one more question for you, and then I have a little game.
Cute.
So, okay. My other question is, what do you think the alternative would be if they stopped making latex balloons?
Stop making latex balloons? They'd have to make plastic balloons. Well, I mean, they already do. It's plastic and foil.
This is actually a question from Danny.
Interesting.
It doesn't have to be just latex, but if you at some point,
I think that. Sorry, I just kicked you. I think that in terms of the overall look and feel, you can achieve a similar decor with stretchy plastic balloons. So like the aqua balloons, the clears, spheres, and gems balloons. So they can make those in different colors now. They're still very, very round. So you can get that same feel and shape. Okay. But I think that's what it would be. Now they're relatively more expensive. You're not going to get 100 in a bag for $15 or whatever the case might be. So things would definitely be different. But if that was the case, so knock on wood, that never happens. Latex balloons, you can have a lot, and you can truly transform a space. With this small little bag of balloons. And there's nothing else that can go up and come down and is biodegradable.
Like a latex balloon.
and make such a visual impact
Yeah.
to a space temporarily.
Yeah.
So again, knock on wood, that doesn't happen, but and I don't think it would. But uh, my guess would be that it would be stretchy plastic balloons,
Okay.
and there would be more other. I guess they would have to develop other things.
Yeah.
You know, if latex balloons weren't around or they couldn't make them anymore.
I'm sure they would, but I can't think of what that would
Anything
be, you know? So to
Or maybe
whoever,
things would shift more into like silk floral and like other types of like prop decor would
alternatives.
kind of like take over. Or
Yeah.
maybe those vinyl, like those big giant mirror balloons,
Oh yeah.
right? So maybe that would become more popular. And instead of you popping balloons, you're just renting them out and you're inflating and deflating. And maybe there's different ways to change the colors. The balloon industry is so creative.
Yeah.
It keeps evolving. Every decorator and business that I know, like, they're so resourceful and they're so creative, and not just in the design, but like working through obstacles.
Yes.
So I think no matter what, the balloon industry will thrive. It'll find a way and it'll figure it out.
I think it's the same way where like people were so maybe dependent of helium a few years back with their decor, and then there was like the helium shortage, and then people started to just do organic decor, and they started to do different things because helium wasn't as accessible, and if it was super pricey. Do you think that helium will ever run out?
Theoretically, yes, because it is a limited natural resource. From my understanding, they have found some more helium. It's just about either finding it or tapping into it. But the way that they grab helium, a lot of times it's a byproduct of getting oil and other natural gas. So it's kind of like the scrap, so to speak, ironically.
Okay.
And I forgot what the actual numbers are, but like, let's just say there's like 100 milliliters of gas, or however, cubic feet of gas. Only like 2% of it happens to be helium.
Oh.
And then it's actually the hard part, and why helium is so expensive is actually like extracting it, collecting it, filtering it, and then again making it usable.
Yeah.
Because what happens when you just release helium into the air, it just kind of like
poof,
dissipates, right? And it goes away. So like when you're drilling and you find a well, how do you get it? And that process is actually very difficult. And but yeah, like I mean, like you said, like there was a helium shortage, and people started doing air inflated balloon decor and doing deliveries and using glue dots and doing organic and doing more garlands as opposed to inflated balloons.
Yeah. All right. Well, when I think of, I don't think we really think of the actual process of how things are like done, I think, but you talking about it right now, I know helium is just in a helium tank, and that's how, you know, that's how we have it. But I don't actually think of the process of like what I'm assuming there's like workers that are in fields, I don't know, like tapping into stuff and with their
and then
little
they set up their
tools.
giant machines. Well, it's not like mining in that way, but like initially when they're looking for places and they think there might be helium here, there, whatever, that'll happen. But they actually had to build these giant machines and facilities to extract the helium from the ground. So just like, you know, you see these giant oil wells and facilities in the middle of the ocean or here or there, same kind of concept happens. But normally it's for a multitude of gases, not just helium.
Yeah.
And it happens to be that, I said, like at some point, theoretically,
maybe
years and years and years later, eventually, you keep using all the helium, it's gone.
Well, we'll see. But
now is not that time, though.
Yeah,
and there is actually no helium shortage at this moment.
Oh, well, good to know.
Good news.
Did you see the eclipse the other day?
I did. That was pretty cool. Thankfully, Stephen brought on those eclipse glasses, because I would have been one of those silly people who went like that and just tested my luck. But
I saw different videos of it where people who were actually in that specific area that it traveled to, where it actually just went dark like for a while. And it was really cool to see the video where it just, there was light, and then all of a sudden it just went super dark, and then I don't know. I'll send it to you later, but I thought it was really cool to
Let's
to
put
be
it
able to
up
see
on
the
the thing.
eclipse. We only saw like a part of it, and
Official.
yeah, our graphic designer actually took a really good picture of it. So shout out Caesar for that picture, and I'm sure he can post it on here so that you guys can see it.
He's also our video editor.
Yes, so he does all of our reels and the anything graphic design. Caesar's got you. So shout out to Caesar for putting in the work and making it easy for us to just post stuff. I have a little game for you. Okay. In the very first episode, if you have watched from the beginning, you'll know that I was trying to teach. I said that I was going to try to give you a Spanish word every so often, right?
Yes.
I don't think Diana's taught you any words lately, right?
She has not. No.
We've been a little busier than usual, but I'm going to give you, it's like a speed round of, I'm going to give you 10 words in Spanish.
Oh man, 10.
And
All right.
I want you to try and tell me what it is, what you think it is, or just translate it into English, okay?
Am I supposed to know what these words are, or
I tried to do 10. That some of them were easy. I have a feeling you will for sure have at least one.
Okay.
So don't, but they should be pretty simple. And if not, I mean, I'll help you out. So
All right. I'm ready.
10 words. I will say it in Spanish and you have to say it in English. And it'll just be like a speed thing, okay?
Got it.
Ready?
Yes.
All right. First word. Globo.
Balloon.
Comida.
Food.
Gato.
Cat.
Libro.
Book.
Carro.
Carro.
Mhm.
Oil.
Ghost. Dueño.
Dueño.
Mhm.
Oh, it sounds like baño. Dueño.
What is baño?
Bathroom. Dueño is kitchen.
Nope.
No.
Next. Negocio.
Negotiate.
Good context clues. Película.
I.
Helio.
Helio.
Mhm.
Can you spell it?
Helio.
Helium.
Okay. Colores.
Color.
Nice. Okay. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, right? You got a C. 6 out of 10.
What did I get wrong?
So the first one, carro,
Mhm.
is car.
Oh man. Okay.
Dueño is owner.
Okay.
Negocio is business. And then película is movie.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
I thought I had that one right. All right, that was cool.
You did good.
All right,
So
I'll take it.
yay.
Some of those words I'd never heard of before.
Well, you did good. I'm surprised. Like Helio, I was like, is he gonna get it? He's not gonna get it. But I tried to make him pretty simple. I was like, he has to get gato. Like
that's fine. Yeah, okay.
yeah, I was like, you
That
have
was
to
the
get
gimme.
them.
You're gonna get at least one. I was like, that's gonna be the one.
You did good.
I've read enough Helium articles, and I think actually Helio has been
Translate, into
somewhere in one of these articles or whatever.
all right. Well, that was
fun.
my little game for you. So
Cute.
you did good.
Thanks.
Good job.
I wonder if you're gonna be able to do that. See that?
I'll go into your shots. My arm's not reached, but
All right.
that's it. That's
So,
all I got for you. Unless you have
episode
something you want
9.
to say.
Thanks and shout out to our Tough Tech sponsor.
Yeah.
New colors flying off the shelves.
Yeah.
Tell us what your favorite is. We never actually showed it.
1 second. I will be right back, and I will grab it.
Ta-da!
So
Live in real color.
I
Meadow.
won't be in the frame for this one really quickly. But
Georgia.
if you're not familiar with it, do you know the names at the top of your head?
Meadows green.
Okay.
Romy's pink. Georgia blue.
Woo! There you go.
Cute.
If you have ordered something with us since they launched, you will notice that you have gotten a sample pack. So you've probably gotten a chance to mess with them already. And if you haven't, then what are you waiting for? Place your order.
While supplies last, I think
Yes.
we only have so many sample packs.
Yeah.
But They are pretty cool. And in real life, I don't know if you can tell, they do have a lace or pearl-like finish to them. So they're part of the lace collection.
Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna stick to my original choice. Green is gonna be my favorite one.
Is it?
Is pink your favorite one? Or is it the blue?
I think they're all really cool, but I think I'm still gonna. I don't know. Now I'm between blue and pink. I'm between Romy and Georgia, right? Yeah.
Oh, you know what? These would be great for like a baby shower.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what everybody does with them because I've already seen some of the work that they posted when they did the launch. So I'm excited to see what else everybody makes with them. So yeah, but other than that, that's it. Episode 9.
Like, subscribe, and share.
Yes.
If you found this valuable or entertaining in any way.
Let us know if you can think of the guests that we will have for the upcoming episodes. So comment them below or just let us know who you might want to have on here and we will try to make it happen. And
cool.
That's it.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.